Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is July 6th. It is the 6th of July, 2025 on the ancient moon calendar, 2026 on the ancient sun calendar, 5785 on the ancient Hebrew Israelite calendar, 10,066 on the ancient Yoruba calendar, and millions and trillions and millions of years on the ancient Moorish calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in alignment and according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the sovereign living justices and Egosum Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo in red ink, in proprio persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal one and only natural living head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Shemites, Israelites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith, our full trust, our full allegiance, our full honor, our full credit, and our full energy are hereby vested in our full selves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Moroccan Empire. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We're ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earthwide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. We are the law by our sovereign status, which is the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 living United States District for Columbia Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. And our system is the trustee. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are not at war. We are war, which is truth in German, and we are all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time, and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc, Islam. So we're going to take a moment and share our screen. As we begin our discussion, let us absolutely 100% start this discussion congratulating Empress, Grand and Great Matriarch Dr. Nyala Gilliam L. and our great and grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey for another successful broadcast of spells across the airways this previous Friday. It was beautiful. Hopefully you all had an opportunity to witness such a great broadcast. He said so many wonderful things, and she said so many wonderful things. I don't even, we could pull in any number of things that were stated. Let's see, one of the things that our great Sheikh talked about, he said, and these were his words, he mentioned that in the previous era, anytime the hybrids, the modern ones, would do something, they would always enact a placement shift of names, of property, of persons. There was always an enacted placement shift. What does that mean? That means that instead of them saying that your house is located in California or Washington or Florida, they would do a placement shift and say that your house is located in CA dot or WA, W-A, or the U dot S dot. That's called a placement shift. And all we're doing is saying, there is no room for placement shift here. We're on our own land. We're home, been home, never left our land. And every record demonstrates that, because we create our own records. There are no records that we don't create. We don't allow anyone to create records for us. And when I say us, I mean us being the original indigenous government on the land. We don't allow any foreigners or anyone we can't see with our own eyes to create records. Have you ever even spoken to or seen actors acting as a tax assessor? Have you gone in and seen who that is? No, most haven't. So then why would we allow them to speak into our lives when we don't know them? The Biblios and all the ancient records always say, know them that labor among you. Do we even know them? No, we don't. We don't. So then we can't take their word for anything. They're actors. So the placement shift piece, major. It's what this Congress has been stating the whole time about where we are and about what our documentation looks like. We're the only ones that can put our domiciles on the land and make sure it stays on the land. We're the only ones who can do that. It's not in any foreign interest to do it. It's not in the foreign interest to have our domiciles be on the land. So I'm so grateful for our great Sheikh Taj, who broke the spell over our lives and over our consciousness and over our minds almost 8 years ago. So we're constantly going to be speaking his appellation into the atmosphere in a way that blisses, that adds blissful energy to the atmosphere, so that he can just pull that energy from all of us into his life, Islam. And same thing, and let me say this about our great matriarch, Empress Dr. G. There are some who come onto her platform and have the audacity to tell her to stop talking so much so they can hear our great Sheikh. And see, our great Sheikh, he would be okay with us saying this. I'm sure he would be. It is outside of the law for anyone to come onto her platform and tell her what to do like that. The matriarch must speak first, because even the ones coming onto the platform who say that to her came from a womb. We'll leave that right there so that our energy stays in a peaceful place. But no one has the right or the authority to tell the matriarchs to be quiet. I'm just putting that energy in the atmosphere so that it is known and clear that We matriarchs are one. And if we allow that to go on her platform and don't speak against it, then they'll try and come for us next. And as you know, we don't let anybody do that. Islam. The matriarchs that speak on this platform speak freely because they're speaking from the Spirit. And let me say this, the nobles and empresses on this platform respect one another. We respect and love one another and honor the divinity in one another. We may not always agree, but we honor the divinity in one another. And we do the same for our great matriarch, Empress Dr. G, and all the other matriarchs who have platforms where they've chosen to be themselves on their platforms. We stand with them and support them at all times. Islam. So with that being stated, a quick side note. This land is Africa. So there are some who were attempting to, make there be a difference between us and our brothers and sisters at the other Africa. We just will to know that this land is Africa, and that the word ka, Empress Shasha pointed this out to us, means soul. Soul. So this land is a free soul. Land for the free and home for the brave. That is our land as well, Islam. Let's keep moving. We have already turned the page and we've accepted our nationality. Notice the spelling of the word nationality. Our bloodline as Allah in the flesh here at earth. Our wealth, our abundance, our inheritance, we are already on the new page, Islam. So we don't have to get there, we're already there. We're already on our own land. Get that into your spirits more. We're already on our own land. We're not fighting to get anywhere. We're already here. Our wealth, abundance, prosperity, wisdom, and inheritance is an inescapable covenant. It's a covenant. It's an ancient covenant that cannot be broken. Our wealth, our abundance, our prosperity, wisdom, and inheritance is an inescapable covenant to us, for us, by us, because of us. Our ancestors' estate grows through us. Thus, their 100% vested interest is in our success. They will that we succeed, and we've already succeeded. We know that. We're going to continue to do that. This is where the power of assumption is a benefit. So when we first nationalized, we didn't assume anything. We just went ahead and stated the law and did the demonstrations. We were not assuming anything because we know that in the previous era's enactment, the actors assumed office. That means that the office wasn't really theirs. They just assumed it. But see, the power of assumption is a benefit to us as well, because some are having, we can hear in your language that you're having a little bit of a problem knowing who you are and knowing that we're already home, that we don't have to travel anywhere to be on our own land. We don't have to fight anyone. We're already on our own land. So here the power of assumption is a benefit. The power of assumption is to go ahead and assume that your word is the law. Now, we know that it is, but this is for those who may need some assistance in the area of knowing who you are, where you are, and that you demonstrate accordingly. Just go ahead and assume that everyone already knows. Ooh, that's going to be powerful for all of us, because we've already done that. We just assume everyone already knows that we are the lords on the land, and all we do is when, in the past, when we stated this before, when they start acting like they don't know, we just tell them, you can stop acting. You know who we are. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity, and then we do a court action and command that they stop acting like they don't recognize the Lord. So for those who will to use the power of assumption, it's the same. Well, I can't say it's the same. The commoners and the subjects from the previous era and the actors, let me say the actors from the previous era, used the power of assumption to get over their fear and go ahead and act like they were police, and go ahead and act like they were judges, and go ahead and act like they were teachers and doctors and lawyers and all of that. They used the power of assumption in their enactment to go ahead and do that, to see who would believe it. And it's only when we, in that enactment, went along with their costumes and their acting and things of that nature, it's only when we went along with it that anybody else did, that other actors came in and started acting like, oh yeah, they're the real police, they're the real judges, when we know that is not true. So I have found that this is an additional superpower that we have available to us that gives us another push forward and up in what we're doing. Just go ahead and assume that they know. Go ahead and assume that they know you got all the wealth, because it's true, they know already. This is for our benefit, this is not for their benefit. They know already. But for us, when I put that piece, that tool, the power of assumption, when I pulled that in with all that we know and all that we're doing, it really gave me a huge boost in terms of our banking and all of that. Just assume that they already know that our money is the real money, because they know. Let me give you some proof of that really quickly. On the screen,
truly historic.
The title of this video that came into our, I won't call it a newsfeed because we don't eat from that. From what we see, what we've been seeing, the title of it is, quote unquote, Saudi Arabia just ends petrodollar era, U.S. power crash begins. Saudi ends petrodollar era. And we know they're all actors. We know this is not, we're the real oil barons. We're the real, the natural resource people. But it was interesting listening to this enactment, because we've always stated that our money is the real money, that the oil belongs to us. Because see, what that's really reflecting is our complete control over the natural resources. And that fake money is not being used for that, for natural resources, because we're already, see, this is not something in the future. We're already using real money for real resources. We're already pulling the resources from the land and using our money system to get it out to the people. Now, it takes some bold people, some bold living people, some bold living natural people to do what we've done. We're not shrinking back on that knowledge. We know it. And the many of us that are pulling from the land and using the trust and our money system to get the healing resources out to the people. See, the Biblio says that when we return to the Christ that is within us, that our land will be healed, that there is duality in that word heal. Healing from a war perspective, and we know this is happening, it's just that we don't have to do it because it's already done through us. To heal someone or something, we'll use a dog as an example. Whenever the master tells the dog to heal, the dog doesn't go barking and biting and ready to fight. Heal means to sit peacefully. Sit peacefully and don't get up. Sit peacefully and don't get up. Islam. That is what heal means. So let me just say this, that for those Moors who were in the churches, whenever particularly foreigners and actors, rather, let's say actors, whenever actors acting as preachers would pray for you and for your healing, just know that their words are the opposite of what you were thinking. They were praying that your divinity sit and be set down and not stand. It wasn't really about you getting better. It was about you being quiet and continuing to let them act like they are over you. And some might say, that's not what my preacher was doing. Okay, that's fine. For you, that's fine, if you want to say that. Just look at the results, though. That's the point. Just look at the results. That's all you have to do. What happened with you? What happened with you? How did that work for you? How did that turn out for you? What did that look like for you? Islam. So that is another tool that we can apply every day. Whatever you see for yourself, apply the power of assumption to it. We know that our banks are real. We know that our money is real. We know that we all have millions and trillions of dollars. We know that. We know that every Moor has $100 million in their trust. Whether they access it or not, it has everything to do with whether they know it's really there. We know that none of us in the previous era's enactment had $100 million in anything that had to do with that enactment. We know that. We know we were enacting being paupers when that's not who we really are. So our will is already done in the divine mind, and now our will is done here now at earth as it is in divine mind heaven. We, the mature-minded majority, are the bridge between vibration and reality. Reality does not require any evidence other than us. If you see us, you see the wealth. If you can hear us, you hear the wealth. And we have manifested all other evidence that supports our statements about our wealth, our prosperity, our abundance, our unity, our intellect, our land, our natural resources, and all other. Our reality is that we were always wealthy and that we're manifesting our wealth now. That's our reality. And there's no other. We assume and know that all that we have intended and stated is now truth manifested in reality. We've completed our demonstration. Now all our will is reality. Reality, back to Allah. Everyone knows that already about us. Back to Allah. The reality, the debtor capitalism from the previous era was based on the enacted private ownership of the means of production. The actors falsely claiming private ownership of the means of production were bankrupt. Therefore, they did not own anything. They just used the power of assumption in their enactment. And if someone is looking like a duck and walking like a duck and acting like a duck, and the Moors are asleep, the Moors will think that that really is a duck, a police officer, a judge, a teacher, a preacher, a bank, a court. Will think that that's really who that is. Because it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it acts like a duck. Is it really a duck? No, it's not. There are no courts beside the Moors. There's no banks beside the Moors. There's no provision beside the Moors. There's no government besides the Moors. There's no government besides the Moors. There's no government besides us. The actors do not control anything. All Moors who worked in the production areas are the true owners of the production means. So for any of us that worked in production, at one point we worked at a place that was enacted as Hyundai Motor America, Fountain Valley, California. It was enacted as the headquarters for administration. We did not know at the time, but we should have known because of the way that we were treated. And I will say this, those actors treated us very well there. Very well. But when I look back on all of that, I know that they knew we were the means for production. That they had us signing things and being the heads of programs because they already knew that they had to have our buy-in, even though we did not know then what we know now. And we've done, many jobs in the previous era's enactment. We did many. We were analysts in aerospace and analysts, national training analysts at Hyundai and things of that nature. And they knew the whole time. That's why every time a program came about, we had to sign for it. And then they would put their stuff on top of that so that it looked like the means of production was coming from them, from actors. So now that we know, and now that we're producing, let me say this more. As a nation and as the government, and since the introduction of more sovereign dollarium gold receipts, trade and production within our nation and among the nations has drastically increased. If you didn't have one mango, you didn't have a mango at all, and then and someone gave you one, how much increase has been made? 100%. Where percentiles are concerned, you've gained 100% of what you had before, because before you didn't have anything. So our production, because of the shipments and the production that's been going out with the natural resources, our sea salts and the tinctures and the dehydrated plants and the teas and the healing herbs and things of that nature. Just since we've introduced Moorish sovereign dolarium gold receipts, because those are the receipts for the gold. We have the gold already, so our money is just saying this is a receipt for gold. Okay? But just since the introduction of Moorish sovereign dolarium, our production, and sometimes in the past you would hear foreigners talk about GDP, gross domestic product. Our production has skyrocketed through the roof in terms of commodities going back and forth. Our trade, our production has drastically increased. Where there was only, and this is so important, where there was only consumerism before, we're not just consumers, we're producers. That alone is what our ancestors willed for us from the beginning. Don't just take. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Shall men give into your bosom? For with the same measure that we meet withal, it shall be measured to us again. That's why we state what we state about producing. Because what you bring to the table is what you're going to get, what you're going to eat. That's going to determine what you eat, how you live, and all of that. Look at your lives right now. Look at them. Look at your lives. Does your life match what you have been saying? Not just us, but what you've been saying. Does your life match that? Are you the Lord's for the land? Well, how does anyone know? How do you prove that? We go out onto the land and pull the resources and then tribute them. That's what the Lords do. That's why people pray to the Lord, so they can get things. Oh, Lord, they need this and they need that. All we're doing right now is manifesting that. The people need this and the people need that. Okay, let's manifest it. Where there was consumerism before, there is now origination, creation, productivity, and growth, and wealth, and abundance manifested through us. We have created our own wealth, our own prosperity, our own abundance, our own hope, because some had lost hope in the previous era, thinking, how in the world are we ever going to catch up with, quote unquote, foreigners who came and did things in the enactment. Within, and this is what the ancestors have shown us about our production. Within 18 months, we are projecting and prophesying that our global production will increase by at least 100% more than what we're doing right now among our nation and the nations. Trade will increase as a direct result of our increased production. And hear me when I say this, this is truth right here. Billionaires and trillionaires among us are creating ourselves. We're creating the billionaires and trillionaires. We're creating that right now among us by perfecting our products and processes and getting them out to the people. This is how millionaires and trillionaires manifest. Yes, we know all Moors are millionaires and trillionaires, but it must be manifested by those who will to manifest it. Those of us who are actively participating in the ongoing, never-ending trade launches, because see, each one of us has a trade launch every time we send something out. The trade launches are already manifesting control over our natural resources. Those of us who are doing that are manifesting control already over the natural resources, completely unencumbered. Those of us who are producing, we don't have anybody banging on the door talking about you can't do that, or sending some letter somewhere saying you can't do that, or we're going to tax what you did. We don't have that. Not a single one of us. That's because we're the lords for the natural resources. And here's further proof. Our books, our ledgers, our records, and our accounts are growing exponentially. I just love that about this, is that as we continue to book our resources. See, remember in the previous era's enactment, actors used to use that word a lot when they were arresting someone. They would say, book them. What does that mean? It means put some more resources in the ledger. That's what that meant. Book them, that means write it down and put it in the books, and then put a price tag on it, and then create a bond and say, you pay this bond. They created the bond, or made the bond, or mimicked the bond, rather. They mimicked it, and then made you pay it. So how is it that a foreign corpse can create as many bonds as they want to create, can make as many bonds? I don't mean create, I mean make, mimic, as many bonds as they want, and then hand it to you and say, okay, I created another bond, you pay it. I created another one, you pay it. This is your debt. Really? No, not really. That's why our own everything was so important. And I'm saying was because it's a wrap. We did it already. It's done. All we're doing now is walking it out. Anyone who said delirium is not real money, it's too late for you. For those words, we've been proving delirium for years. Years. So we're on to something else. Hearing that is like hearing someone, say, that they're a big purple dinosaur when they know they're not. So What's really happening now is that all things, Moors, are returning and have returned to the natural order. The natural order is restored. Already done. This is not something that's going to happen 5 years from now, 10, 15, not another century from now. It's already done. The natural order at Earth is restored. And for those of you who can't see that, we suggest that you employ the power of assumption to assist you. Just assume it's already done. Why? Because we said so. And not just because we said so, but because we're doing it. We've manifested that already. We are already salt barons and salt titans and tincture titans and tea titans and titans for production and titans for industry and we're already that. Titans for banking. Titans at court. Already. So here's the deal. Anything that was modified and Jimmy rigged and nigger rigged and pasted together and changed up, it's a wrap. The natural order, that which is natural, is here. So for those who were worried about genetically modified foods, worry no more. Just you go outside, Moors, pull from the trees. No matter what kind of leaf it is, it serves a purpose on the estate, or it wouldn't be there. Do your research, and then name it and call it tell it what it's going to do. And then tribute it. Begin tributing it. See, the issue that we have now, Morris, the issue is not whether we have money or not or anything like that, because we have more of that than the next 10,000 generations can invest. That's not the issue anymore. And when I say anymore, we had to get to the place in the programming where we know that. The issue now is how much of that money can we tribute out to those who have created a way for the wealth to get to them. We're not looking to pull from the people. We will that the people create the way for the money to get to them. They can have the money with, production and proper statements and proper wording. That's not even the issue. The issue is, have they created the mechanism by which the money can come to them unencumbered? Our job is to get the money to the people. That's what's happening now. The people are praying for it. They're begging God to send some resources. So let's get busy. And they have to be willing to hear. They have to be willing to accept their inheritance, their estate, or just the resources from God. They're praying for it, though. We can hear them. We hear their prayers. We hear them. Question for this Congress. Congress, what is a canceled debt? Islam. What is a canceled debt? Because, see, we're talking about getting resources to the people. But the people feel as if that there's so much debt that the resources won't get to them. What is a canceled debt?
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
So a canceled debt is something that has been crossed out, eliminated, removed, and transformed into a credit.
That's good, Empress. Now, we all know that what Empress Shasha stated is correct. We know that, right? Our job is to show how that happens in the process. Does anyone know the process of canceling a debt and then making it a credit to you so that you can use it?
I'm assuming that's the levy process.
That's part of it. That's part of it, yes. The levy process is a process whereby any property that was enacted as being claimed by foreigners or by corpses or anything like that, that property is repossessed. Possession changes at the levy. So that's what the levy does. Is it changes possession, or let me use better words. Possession, true possession is stated with the levy. Islam.
Islam, Empress.
Islam, nobility.
Peace and great gun rising to all the Moors.
Islam.
Enough respect, Empress. You're looking beautiful today.
Thank you.
And indeed, I appreciate you, Empress. Empress, gratitude.
Does anyone know the process? Islam, nobility.
This is Chief Justice Mosey Bay. Would that be nationalizing?
Of course it is that. That's the foundation of any process. That's the foundation. In other words, the things we're speaking about can't even be done unless you've done that first. Declare who you are. Declare your nationality. Yes. So, Islam, Empress.
So I'm thinking, the process for demonstrating the transformation of debt into credit. This is the answer. This is the question. Is that?
That is the question.
That's the question. So it's an action that we take, which incorporates or which involves all of the things, all the demonstrations that we do from nationality on to our affidavits, our demonstrations, our word, and our production. And so as we produce from the natural resources our demonstration of being the landlords, we're actually, in that whole movement, we are taking, or we have from nationality, removing the cloak of debt even from over us.
Yes. It must be done there first, by the way.
It has to, it can't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
It happens with that. And
that's how we know the process works, is we do it on ourselves first.
Right. I mean, this is, I'm thinking this out loud as I'm stating, but at the same time, it is something that has to happen. Well, you just stated it, which is what I was trying to get. It has to happen. We have to walk it. We have to be it. We have to demonstrate it so that piece. And then, with our paperwork, with our actions, and in our books and our records, along with notifications, that brings the credit, the debt that never was. We manifest the credit.
That's so good. What you just said is so good. That's a key right there. Empress, when you said the debt that never was, we actually have to make it so. And see, we know we don't have any debt. We know we don't have any debt.
But we have to make it the credit. We have to demonstrate it along the way to bring it from the...
We have to make our word the law.
We have to, and thank you for assisting me in bringing, with all of that, those words, bringing to fruition, because that's the only way it can happen. That's the only way anything can happen. We must do it.
See, everyone knows that we're the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. They don't even question that. Nobody says, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not. No one says that.
Absolutely.
No one with a real voice. But so the process is simple.
Yes.
See, we're the creditors in Prashasha, so we have to know this part too. This is a small part of our power and authority. It's a very small part, but it's a necessary part.
The piece that, and that's the piece that we, the lien, the levy, the bond, the 1099, all of those things, those are the pieces that manifested in ink in the real world.
Yes.
That's the piece. So I was being very philosophical and not direct, right? So.
But what you said is necessary to know.
Exactly.
I'm summarizing what you said. By our summarizing, this is what we mean. See, because all of this stuff is after you've done nationality, you've declared who you are, you put things on the public record, the 40 documents on the public record. Because, see, in order to even cancel a debt, you have to have the power and the authority to do so. The power and the authority to do so. Justice Johnny, we're grateful to see you. First, and again, this is after you've established that you have the right and the authority and the power to do this, to move money, to cancel debt, to call something into being, and so on and so forth, then you can do this. What does that look like? The 40 documents. Because within those documents is contained nationality, liens, levies, and things, all of that. Once you've placed the 40-something documents on the record, Moors, and listen, the reason that we target Moors for this information is because the whole estate is based on you, us. That's why we target each other, the Moors. We target you, us, because the whole estate is based on us. We are the wealth for the estate, so we must get proper documentation on the public record. We must speak with one voice. We must govern and rule. So now, once those documents have been placed on the record, then these processes come into play. So with debt cancellation, We call it an affidavit. We know that some people spell it with a T on the end, but in ancient English, we speak about affidavits because of who David is in history. So a 1099 cancellation affidavit. Now, creditors, this is how you create credit for you. Once you do the cancellation affidavit and notify everyone that that's been done, everyone involved, all the subjects in the office of, all the offices, notify them. Then what you will do is create an entry on your itemized deduction affidavit for the amount canceled. And when you do that, this is how we pick up all the credits. Because, see, we know we don't have debt, so we can cancel the debt. It has to be canceled. Because on the other side of the ledger, there's a credit that has to be, we got to pick those credits up. We have to pick them up.
Islam.
Is Islam justice, Willie?
You just kicked me out and for that guy.
I didn't do that.
I don't understand. Oh, you're military. You don't look at your target. Make sure you have the right target. You don't shoot your own man. You just shoot your own man.
I did not do that.
Oh, my God. You just shot me.
I know I didn't.
You're supposed to aim and make sure it's the right target. Bang! Well, you just shot me. When the guy spoke, I was going to say something. Like,
I can only put one person out at a time.
It's me you shot just now. You better call the ambulance, man. I'm bleeding.
Justice Willie, how are you doing?
I'm good.
You and Justice Johnny, we missed you both.
Yeah, I was just taking a break, you know.
Yeah, Islam.
Yeah.
Islam. At least you know yourself.
I got message that you missed me, so I'm back.
I did. You didn't think we wouldn't miss you, did you?
Huh?
You didn't think we wouldn't miss you.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't miss me.
Of course we will. If you're not here.
I've been wanting to ask you a question. Is it appropriate time, or you want me to allow you first?
Is it on the topics that we're speaking on right now?
Not 100%.
Okay, if it's not, Justice Willie, if you'll just wait a few more moments so we can stay on topic with this, and then
sure, no worries.
Of course, we're here to hear that.
Okay.
So that, Morse, is how the creditor claims credit. And listen, as the creditor, and this is what the 40 documents also is about, as the creditor, we can cancel debt from anywhere, any person, because that's the only way debt is put about, is through personage. So we can take any debt with any person's name on it and cancel it and then pick up the credit. That is why we have trusts. So, for example, United States Trust, the United States, the living, original, indigenous, ancient United States that we created, can pick up credits from any person, anywhere. We can pull it. And what we do is we pull it, and if they and whoever it is and we do it for corporations anyway. So all of that credit comes back to the people, because that is the financial special purpose vehicle called the United States that we created. That's what that mechanism is for. So this is how the credits are picked up. Once you've done these 3 steps right here, then you can literally deposit that into the bank. the itemized deductions, because see, the internal revenue was, it is, she is, we are, because we're the internal revenue that we're talking about, because there is no other. The internal revenue is a bank. It's a banking mechanism. It's a mechanism by which large amounts of credits can be pulled in and deposited. Okay. In order for us to become really well acquainted and well accustomed to collecting our credit, it's best to do this process with your own, with things that come in the war name. We in all capital letters in black ink. Take that, cancel it, notify that it's been canceled, and we know how to do that. We use our fiduciary document, our authority, and we use whoever it was, whatever actor it was that was sending that. We just take the letterhead, nationalize the logo, whoever it was that was sending that. For example, if let's say I was at Montgomery, Alabama. No, I won't say that. Let's say that I was out and a fake camera took a photo and sent a ticket, quote unquote, saying that the license plate here ran a red light and it's registered to this one, and so on and so forth. So we do a cancellation, a 1099 cancellation. That's an internal revenue document. Cancel it. Use the letterhead for whoever it was for. So let's say, for example, it was Federal Way, City of Federal Way Police Department, because we know that's not a real thing. Those are actors. Those were actors. We would get our Federal Way Police Ministry letterhead out, and we would state that the debt, this particular debt, has been canceled, and an itemized deduction has been added to the account, has been credited to the account for this amount. And you will have already liened whoever that actor was. You got to lien the actors, lien, levy, and bond, whoever that was previously acting. And because we all have done that at our territories, because those were some of our first tests, where we said, well, we got to do something about this, because we're not going to pay them fiat on our own land. We're not going to do that. See, our ability to do what we're doing right now for us, it started in 2017 when we first woke up. We woke up in June, like May, June time frame of 2017. We immediately put Morse tags on our conveyance and everything and went on our way. We were pulled over 3 times between June and December of 2017 on the ancient Roman calendar. 3 times. And they were issuing debt at the time. So now we know to do the things that we're doing now. Lien, levy, and bond those actors. Lien the actors, levy the property, and bond the property to the land. That's what the lien, levy, bond process is. So we're not levying and bonding actors to the land. We're not doing that. Lien the actors. A lien is a claim. A claim is that we're the creditors and they're the debtors and not the other way around. Lien the actors, levy the property that they were previously claiming. Because once you lien them, that they've been properly identified. They can't continue acting, but you have to stop the fiat from moving all around. Levy the property that they were claiming. That means the police station, because it's only a police station after we say it is, after lien, levy, and bond process. So any structures, any buildings, any transportation, any automobiles, anything, all of that is levied to the internal, by the internal revenue, by the way. So the internal revenue, which is us, that's us, puts a levy on the property because they're not going to pay the lien because they don't have gold, because guess what? They were trying to enact fiat onto the land, onto the people. So we already know they can't pay it because they were trying to act fiat out. And then we bond that property that we've levied, we bond it to the land and to the people. Then we do these things here. Now we can take that debt that they were trying to shovel off on people, cancel it, and then pick up the credit and add it to our ledgers. And we can do that for any all caps name. If you have someone around you, and whether they know who they are or not, just get a copy of that thing, that debt, and you do what you got to do about that. Cancel the debt, because you're the controller of currency. You're the currency controller. So you can take their stuff, and they don't have to know you're doing it. Particularly if they don't think that Moorish sciences works. We know it works. But we have to do it for ourselves first. Do your stuff first. Cancel the debts. And again, it's not your debt, but we're stopping the fraud and picking up the credits, because, see, the credits are ours. That's why the prophet said, you're just plain rich. I won't say the children part, because we're not children, we're the majority. But at the time he said it, that's where the minds were. What we do is claim that credit, and see, this is the thing about the credits. The banking system does what it's supposed to do when there is proper justification for the claim. All we're doing is properly justifying where the money is coming from, and not fiat. When we do our claims and stuff, we're using our system and our banks and our money. This is where the currency exchange, if you will, I'll just use that term for those who will to understand and overstand it. This is a currency exchange. We're changing those amounts from fiat. We're canceling the fiat and saying, nope, it's real money. It's gold and silver and Moorish sovereign delarium.
Islam Empress.
Islam.
You must have been in my spirit again, because I asked this question earlier about the levy, because I've done a lien for an acting corporation previously that was acting as a real estate corporation. And so we found a domicile for things and whatever, so on. And so I did the lien again this time. And I got to the levy part, and I'm like, okay, so which one do I levy? Do I levy the corporation again or the domicile? And I got my answer, the same one you just gave. Yeah. But it's just confirmation that you had brought this topic of conversation around again, and I appreciate it, because I know it's going to work. And
Islam.
So I'm affirming, and I'm in gratitude for the expanded definitions and everything else.
Islam. Yeah, you're welcome, nobility. Empress, let me just pull up one of our levies really quickly so that we can just take a quick look at it, at that process.
Yes, thank you. That part too, because my memory sometimes is, you know.
Okay, so this is what our levy looks like. It is an internal revenue document. And then we copy to the Treasury, because the Treasury and the Internal Revenue work together. We bypass and skip over, and we don't necessarily have to skip over it, the Federal Reserve, because there is some black ink and capital letters here. So what we do is we take this is the EIN number, restated. The Alabama Department of Education, Inc. was using this EIN, quote unquote, and so we just, on our leaned it, and then we restated it as a positive number instead of a negative math problem. So, and then we said United States is the creditor, that's the people. The living, original, indigenous, ancient United States for America, not of, but for, is the creditor, and we said vers suis, or sui, we're using that word. Vers suis means our own word. Sui means of your own self, or under your own authority. So in propria persona, sui juris, that means, sui juris means by your own law, by your own word, by your own authority. And so vers sui, instead of versus, we said vers sui. Alabama Department of Education, Inc. is the debtor. And what we said is this is the final justice in the matter. It is an immediate tax levy seizure. It's a seizure of property. United States versus Alabama Department of Education, Inc., as the debtor, has not paid nor settled the overdue tax bill after receiving due process, and the lien is the due process. So this is the seizure. That's what a levy does. A levy repossesses the property. It says, in the matter of the United States versus Alabama Department of Education, Inc., the debtor has not paid nor settled the overdue tax bill after receiving due process. Failure to pay past due bill, because it's a bill, is justification for the United States to settle the matter by levying or seizing, and levying is seizing, any and all property previously enacted as claimed by the debtor. Debtor acts have given the property the appearance of abandonment. The property is in the custody, possession, and under the protection, control, and sovereign authority of the United States. And again, when we say United States, we're talking about the financial vehicle, the financial special purpose vehicle that we use to do commerce. We use the United States for America. That company is a special purpose vehicle to do commercial matters such as this. Okay? And that's why at the beginning of our Congress, we state that we're the United States District for Columbia Court. And we spell it the way we spell it. We're not the U.S. debtors, not that one. It's this United States, not that one, because that's not a real one. That other one is not real. Okay? We spell it all the way out. We put it in blue. And we have the documentation whereby we created it. Justice Sharif, did you have a question about that?
Yes.
Because
I was trying to ask, is that will that United States? Oh, okay. I see it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see it now.
Because, see, the fakes created a fake. We create the real. And they didn't even create it, they just mimicked. We create the real. The living, the real, the creditor, United States. It's a vehicle, it's a financial apparatus, just like our prophet said, Zeppelins and apparatus are going to come. This is an apparatus where we move money around. Because money is really beneath the empire level. At the empire, we take at will without money. But when we're doing commerce and keeping and maintaining order on the land and keeping everything in order, this is how order is maintained. So the property, it says here, the property is in the custody, possession, and under the protection, control, and sovereign authority of the United States. It says debtor is consented, submitted, and imprisoned for as long as the United States shall live. The United States is eternal. Amount past due, 100 million in gold, United States dollars or Swiss francs. And final judgment was issued in the superior joint cause entitled "The People versus U.S. Debtor" on 2022, July the 18th. And if you go back in our records, our video records of the Congress, if you go back and look on that date, we were doing bankruptcy proceedings. And so everything that was under the debtor United States was joined in that cause for action. So that's what we mean by superior joint cause entitled "The People versus U.S. Debtor." Okay? And we kept, copious notes and records, accurate records, so that everyone can go back and look and see what this Congress has done. Islam Congress. We highly, this Congress is the Most High God, period. It says, due to debtor unlawfulness and inability to pay the stated debt, all property is hereby placed in the possession and custody of and for the United States Internal Revenue. This judicial affidavit is effective immediately upon all debtors, agents, principals, heirs, assigns, and any and all derivative debtors and debtor acts thereof. We quote 28 United States Code, not USC, but United States Code, because we spell it all the way out. Subsection 2410, it says actions affecting property on which United States has a lien. All actions by the United States, including any civil action or suit, shall be heard in the United States courts. That's our courts, no one else's. It says United States courts have full jurisdiction over all matter, to include deeds, mortgages, all liens, hearing for all property matters. Okay? All United States claims, liens, notifications, and all other is by United States courts. So if anyone coming in saying they have a claim for this, that, and a third, it has to be heard in our courts. That means you have to be in your proper status to even be heard, or we can't hear you. Okay? Particularly when it comes to property matters. And then page 2, it's only a 2-page document, by the way. The levy is a 2-page document, and we just go through, and it's a very quick process for us because this is our template, basically. Page 2 states it is just a statement of the amount due. Amount past due to the original creditor, $100 million. And it talks about the bill summary, the tax period, ending 2019, August 3rd. That's 2019, August 3rd. By 1040, amount that they owe, $100 million, and that's the total, So we give a total summary. And then we put the notifications in, and they're kind of small.
Islam, yeah, please.
Okay, Islam nobility.
Where does that date come from, the August date?
That comes from the date that we placed the first original indigenous ancient lien on the U.S., the debtors, the United States, the debtor United States.
Islam.
And because we are the creditors, we are the original United States for America. So we have to go back and pick those credits up. So let's say, for example, that you were, there was enactment of arrest, where you went in, you were in a POW camp or whatever. Well, there's an award to you for that enactment. But we are not getting fiat for that. We're getting real money for it. But you have to demonstrate that process, okay? And our courts will be assisting others in demonstrating the process too. We'll talk some more about that later and about how we're going to continue to go about demonstrating that. But in this page too, it says all locations are ancient land locations. So this is not a corporate corpse location. All addresses are living corpus cetus trust addresses, okay? So we spell everything out on our addresses. We don't use abbreviations. Islam?
Can you enlarge that? I'm sorry, can you enlarge that?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Here, and so when we send this out, we also send out on page 2, we put the laws here by which we're doing the things that we're doing. 31 United States Code 1501 says documentary evidence requirement for government entitlements. What we have all been saying is that all debt is the obligation of the debtor United States. We've been saying that. Now we're demonstrating and showing how that works. The debt gets canceled, okay, because it's the debtor's responsibility. They created the debt, so they can pay it or we can cancel it. And since we know they can't pay it, we cancel it. We cancel the debt. Then we look at how much was that debt canceled for, and let's say it was canceled for $1,000, or $100,000, or $1 million, or $10 million. Okay, so since that debt has been canceled for $10 million, we add $10 million to our internal revenue deductions affidavit. Okay, and those who know about, who've been doing business in the previous era and you know about tax deductions, you know what that means. That means that somebody got some money coming somewhere. So these deductions, if it's a $50 million deduction or a $1,000 deduction, I'm going to say 1,000 because when you're talking about personal actions, it will be smaller amounts like that. As we're freeing ourselves, it will be smaller amounts for the majority of us. And so let's say that ticket, quote unquote, that was issued that you canceled, that debt was canceled, it was for $1,000. So now what you do is you enter $1,000 onto your internal revenue deductions affidavit. Okay.
And what does that look like, that document?
It looks a lot like the termination of corporate contract document. That's what it looks like. It looks a lot like the termination of all corporate contracts, where you have a list of deductions and on the internal revenue document. And so you're going to do it on internal revenue, not internal revenue. You're going to do it on United States letterhead. Okay. And when you do it on United States letterhead, just go about listing each of your deductions. And you can deposit your deductions every 30 days, every 60 days, every 90 days, or every year. Some businesses gather up all their deductions for 1 year, or some, not businesses, but some people do it for, annually with their internal revenue filing, and then the merchants do it as often as they will, quarterly, weekly, whatever it is, so that you can get those deposits into your account. So you itemize your deductions on the affidavit, on United States government letterhead, because the United States, the creditor, United States, is responsible for that. So it'll be like you're getting a tax return from the Treasury, the United States Treasury, every time you deposit one of these deductions documents. This is how Islam.
So the next question is that how you put it on with a seal for the United States for America? Is that the letterhead you're referring to?
It's a nationalized seal.
Okay.
For the United States.
Okay.
At the top of the document.
All right. Because we haven't used that in a long time. And so that's why I'm asking. And then we notify the same offices that we've notified for our original banking, right?
Yeah. You can do it that way. Yeah, you can do it that way. Sure.
Oh, is there another way you was going to say?
There are other ways you can do it. For those who are coming in and are new to the documentation and the paperwork, you can, if you've never had a bank account, or you will to just in your minds have a fresh start, you can do it on United States letterhead with a nationalized logo to your Treasury account, and all banks are to accept things that are done that way. So it doesn't matter whether you have an account there or not. You can deposit United States checks, Treasury checks at any bank. All you have to do is do the documentation, an affidavit for deposit for that bank, and the account will be open, and they'll put it in there. So that is how you do it. And then what we do is we quote these laws, because did you know that documentary evidence and amount should be recorded as a paid entitlement for, of, and by the United States government when supported by documentary evidence. So in order for the United States to pay a bill, it's a difference between paying a bill and paying a debt. Different. In order for them to pay a bill, there had to be documented evidence from a court. And it says here, a binding agreement between an agency and another person, including an agency, that is in writing, by affidavit, and for a purpose authorized by law. Okay? And executed before the end of a period of availability for entitlement of the appropriation or fund used for specific goods to be delivered. That just means that if you claim it for this year, then the payment comes out of this year's treasury. If you claim it for next year, then the deduction comes out and goes into your account for the next year. But you can look at 31 United States Code Section 1501. You can take a look at that. We've restated it here, but feel free to take a look at it. And this is on all levies. Again, this is page 2, which is the final page of the levy process. Empress Anjel.
Islam. Anjel Badre, Canaan Territory. Good day, Empress. Good day,
Grand Rising, Empress.
Grand Rising. So I have a question about deductions regarding our temples. So when we set up our temples for our commercial exchanges, are we able to also claim these canceled debts in relation to those temples? Yes. And so the question was how have you done it? I'm seeing it as a spreadsheet, right? That's how I've approached it, right?
It can be a spreadsheet, or it can look like an outline where you just have bullet points, numbered articles on there. It can be a Word document or a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet is more effective because you can put in the formulas to add everything up and keep tallies and so on.
Okay, and so I've begun the spreadsheets to keep track of all the canceled debts. So then, just listening to what you just stated here about when we record it, or do due process to notify, then how do we keep track of that? Are we doing it based on the, and I think I just answered my question. So however we will to, really, however we will to, based on how we will to organize that information, basically. So if we're doing it by,
and then prepare it so that someone at the bank can look at it and know what and you can explain it to them and it's clear.
Right.
So keep it as simple as possible is the answer.
Right. Okay. I affirm. Thank you.
Keep it as simple as possible, because we have a lot of records, and our records are our money.
Yes. And there's a lot of records. So there's a lot of records, right?
Well, what did the Prophet Noble Drew Allah say? We were going to need 16 secretaries each. He knew.
Yes.
He knew.
Yes. Indeed. Oh, gratitude. Empress.
So it's up to us to get it started until the 16 secretaries get here.
Indeed. There's a lot of paperwork to do because, like what I'm doing right now is like inputting information. So I'm doing the, the cancellation, creating a allocation and a remittance. So that's basically how I'm doing. I'm just creating allocation remittance, and then inputting that into the account, and then then there's just spreadsheet. There's just like line item after line item. So then I'm trying to sense so when is it? How am I going to do this? So I've worked for a month and that's how much I put in. So that's what I'm going to take to the bank or take it to notify my account that this is the credits that are in the account in effect.
Yes. And in a very short time period, you will actually leave your domicile and go to a bank and deposit. And you'll sit down with a sovereign wealth counselor, not a counselor, because we don't need counsel. A sovereign wealth officer, let me put it that way. You'll sit down with a sovereign wealth officer, which will be another one of us who is well versed in that, and it's most likely going to be somebody from this court. But anyway, you'll sit down with a sovereign wealth officer or official rather, and they'll just go through and look at what you have outlined. Look at your documented proof, which is what this document states. They'll look at your documentary evidence, 18 United States Code 1501. And when you have documented evidence, it's already going to make it so that that it becomes payable to you because you've properly documented everything.
Yes. I'm working in Google Spreadsheet presently, and you're able to link in PDFs that are in your drive. And so I'm creating all these links, related to, the liens, the levies that are related to that particular line item. And so it's a lot of, cutting and pasting to fit everything together, but, it's a cohesion. Like you could see, what has occurred, what is the cause for action, and all the steps that brought you to, stating that this is what is in the account.
Yes, and you know what, Empress? What you're also doing is creating an impenetrable trust between all those actions. It's a circle that cannot be punctured or ruptured or penetrated by falsehood, by fakes. It can't be taxed by fakes. That way, by the time it's deposited into your account, no one can look at your account and say, she got $100 million in there. I think we should tax that. Nobody can do that.
Indeed.
Yeah, because everything is kept uncorrupt.
Indeed. Indeed.
That's the purpose of all of this. Empress, all we're doing is preparing to receive.
In truth. May I ask one other question as it relates? For the numberless credit cards that we will to issue in the banking system, and do we have a visual of what that looks like? I listened to the Congress, and I don't think I was present at the Congress when you first spoke about it and defined what it would look like in effect. And if that information had updated since was a question that came up.
So what it looks like, Empress, is it will have a card. It will be a card, gold, silver, platinum, whichever you prefer, titanium, whichever you prefer. It will have a photo of you on there in the upper right corner. Let me see, is the upper left corner. The flag, our banner for Amity and Commerce will be in the upper right corner, your photo in the upper left, and then it will have some type of a regular design, or it'll just be plain gold on it, and you just show it. Now, whether it won't have a barcode on it initially, it won't have a QR code, or it won't have any of that stuff on it. Because, see, the purpose of the card initially, aside from the merchants being able to gather whatever it is they will to gather, the real purpose of it is to get everyone accustomed to not questioning when we come. If we come and we give you a card and it doesn't have any numbers on it, you'll have the information. You'll already have the system by which to give whatever it is that the heirs have, that the merchants and the producers, because we don't intend for anything to encumber or slow us down. So the card will be a plain card, and whoever we show it to, they just know that there's no limit on the card. So just come on up with whatever it is so we can go on and get stuff to the people. And that might seem like it's a little bit of an ego or an attitude, but it's really not. We're not going to let people starve because somebody want to argue over, is that a 1 or a 2 or a 0 or a 5 on your card? No. The stuff is ours. We're just using our systems to access it so that we can tribute to one another. So it's going to be very plain. It'll be a very plain card, Empress.
All right.
And then Islam.
When you said that, I could just picture a universal coupon, like when you were talking about previous, like a year or so ago, we were talking about how in the enactment, the military used to issue coupons to go to the, what was it called, to get the food and things, and then the stamps, the food stamps and things. You remember the coupons. So the card is like a universal, never-ending, non-disposable coupon.
But it is also to assist us, the merchants, in keeping accurate records on what we bring in, because it's still going to make a record.
Yes.
When we use the card, it's gonna produce a record and a receipt, just like cards do. Mm-hmm. And then we make sure that one of our 16 secretaries puts it into the spreadsheet.
Yes.
AKA you.
You know.
I love it.
So, yeah. In order for our wealth to come, we had to prepare this way.
Yes, indeed.
And now what we're saying, Morris, what we're saying to the people is, you all get prepared too, because we're ready to tribute to you.
And may I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Yes. So I've been speaking to Moors on the land, and it's specifically Moors on the land, you know, right? And so the question for me is, do all Moors need to have their trust in place for them to set up their legacy banking to receive, through the banking system, credits? So there's a question about, you know, all these processes need to be put in place for their legacy bank accounts to be activated for them, you know, because in some ways I'm putting some of the systems in place so that, you know, the banking system activates and is now, you know, could be applied to all nationals, you know what I'm saying? But then, you know, specifically that Moore's process needs to be at this level for it to work for them, you know what I mean? This is my question. So yes.
I get your question, Empress, and it is so valid and so just thoroughly thought out. The answer to the question is this: the 40-something documents and these processes that we are doing are at the highest level of finance. The average Moors are they're going to be well versed, but they may not be to this level that we're at right now. And they don't have to be. They just have to have a trust on the public record that says, I'm alive and I'm a Moor.
Yes.
I'm alive, okay. I'm living, and I'm a Moor. And I know enough to have leaned the capitalism out of the way. So those first 6 documents are the minimum that they need, so that when we send them something, it's automatically going to open the supply line to them.
Okay.
Or when they request something from us, it's going to open the supply line to them.
Okay.
It becomes as simple as their consent or their assent.
Yes.
Because we've done this work here that we're doing. And this work is not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but it's for those who've been chosen, and you've been chosen, and you know you've been chosen because you're here.
Yes. Yes. Indeed. And I'm grateful, you know.
Very specific level of erudition. It is the governing of all. Natural resources, everything coming in, everything going out. All money, all land, all natural resources, all commerce, everything. This is the highest level. This is the papal level at earth. This is the God level of finance. Islam.
So I need to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what they did in their they created LSO or LRO, Land Registry Office, and what have you, where when you buy a house or land or whatever, you register it with them, and then if you want to make any changes, you have to do it through their lawyers and all of that. Now, they make it difficult for you to make any adjustment because you have to go through the gatekeeper, which is the lawyers and the attorneys. So since they do that, and put things on the public record, I'm thinking that to create a database where we can have our own land registry office with our properties that is moved from theirs onto ours, so we have a database. So we don't have to go through their lawyers to do anything, but instead we have our own. And once it's on the public record, that's all we need. And that is coming from ancient time, where putting things on the public record. So what do you think about that?
I think that we this is what I know about that. We've already done that. Those of us who put our documents on the public record regarding our domiciles, we are that office. We are that records office. We are the tax assessors. So we've placed those documents properly stated, originated by us, about our property on the public record to rebut something that we talked about at the beginning of Congress called a placement shift. Yes. Thank you, Nobility. It's called a placement shift. See, their records are not real because where they're saying everything is not real. There's no such thing as CA for Canada. That's not a place. So that was a placement shift in the records. So what we have to do, where the address of the house of the domicile is concerned, we have to have that properly stated and then put it on the record. That keeps them. That means that nullifies anything that they've ever said about the house, the domicile. Okay, and that's the short version of that answer.
So you're saying that we have a database where all the Moors have put their and what's the website for that? What's the name of that website?
It's called the public record. I'm just being honest.
No, I mean like they have the LRO and they have like an official thing where you can go and write to them and say do this, do that, and whatever.
No, we're not delegating our authority. The word "do" as an acronym is delegation of authority. Did you know that?
Right.
We don't delegate our authority to anyone. We don't want them to do anything. We want them to sit down and shut up because they're not real. So we have to do it.
No, I don't understand. Like a website is a public record.
Hold on. We use the power of assumption, Justice Willie. Let me finish this because people want to hear this. People want to hear it. We use our power of assumption to know that what we've done is actually done. And then we keep moving as if it's already done, because in reality it is already done in the divine mind. It's done already. So create your record for your house, for your domicile. Don't worry about this big database with all this information for all the Moors in it. Don't worry about that. Handle your business. Put your record on the public record and watch what happens from there. Everything properly stated. See, the distraction is to want a whole bunch of people to come and be like, yeah, we a gang of Moors. No, a sovereign is a sovereign is a sovereign. So go ahead and put your record on the public record. That is the database. That's where all the money is held. That's where all the property is held and everything. It's called the public record for a reason. That's what a republic is. You see? So don't worry about all that. Everybody else, just handle yours and watch what happens. And we all have to do that. And that's the point of what we've been saying about these processes in the first place. We get way more done when we just take it Our one step at a time. Ours. This is how we got where we are right now, where so many more are awake. We're using our own money system. We're using our own courts. We are our own banks. All of that happened with each one of us just saying, okay, I'm going to do my banking record here on my computer, here at my house, at my domicile. I'm going to do mine. And then I'm going to talk about it on the public record. That's called conspiracy, when we all conspire together. And the root word of conspiracy and the root word of inspire is the same, spirit. So, Justice Willie, take care of your records first. Don't worry about anybody else. We've already done ours. We're not worried about anybody else. We know that the public record is doing what it's supposed to do. So you don't even worry about the frauds. Don't worry about them, because you've got to come out of Babylon, because that's Babylon. The fraud is Babylon. Period. We don't spend a lot of time. We call it the funny mirror for a reason, because it's not real. It's a mirror. And it's not even a properly specified mirror at that. The specifications are off. That's why everything looks weird and misshapen and ugly and deader out there. So don't look at that. Just get your records together for your one house that you currently, that's most important to you. Get that done first, and then worry about all of the other stuff.
I have 10 houses.
Okay, so you must start with the one you stay at.
Okay.
And properly document that one first. That's going to start with who owns it. That's nationality.
What about what's your thoughts on like having holding companies and your own incorporation? No. Okay.
I think that us having our own corpus sanctum, living corpus sanctum, that's what we call it. We don't call it a corporation or an incorporation. It's a living corpus sanctum. That we should have those. Okay. That we should have holding corpus sanctum that hold living property. Right. My conveyances and all of that, that's living property. Why? Because the owner is living. Right. It's not dead property. We must have those. Actually, trusts. I wouldn't say corpus sanctums necessarily. That's part of it, if you will to have that. But a trust in the least. You must have a living trust with all the property in it. Now, fortunately for our nations, we have created an open trust for everything to be in. All living things are in that trust. It's called the United States for America. That's for things that have a price tag on them. There's a trust that supersedes that. That's the Moroccan Empire Trust, and nothing has a price tag there because it's all ours. We can freely pool. That's where the natural resources come in at. The resources are coming in their natural state from the Moroccan Empire, and we're pulling them into our conveyance method called the United States so that we can tribute it out to the people in a way that the people can understand.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Nobility. Thank you for your question.
All right.
Islam. So,
Islam, Empress, I'm sorry, pardon. But yes. Back to the levy, because the levy, the language you were speaking about, can you put that back on, thank you, on the screen? And so, the top part of the first page, you were talking about how you mentioned the original lien and the, when we did the bankruptcies and things. There you go, right there. And the date, you put it in Roman numerals and such. And then can you go to that part right there, please? I can't see it right now. There it is. Yep, right
Okay.
there. And
Mhm.
so would it be advantageous for you to put the link to the video as is on the public record for the purpose of full disclosure?
The link to which video?
The one that we was talking about, the bankruptcies and things, the one that you referred to in
Yeah,
the
those
thing.
are on the public record already.
No, I'm saying, would it be advantageous to put the link on this here document? Like go get the link to the video.
Yeah, you
put it on there?
can do that. You can do that, but it's not necessary. And the reason I say it's not necessary, and the reason why I will not be doing that, is because at some point that link may become inactive, or whatever the case may be. As we continue to grow, there will be things that fall away because we don't need them anymore.
All right, that makes sense.
But the word from start to finish will always be the key.
Okay.
So as long as we keep our word on here, on these things, then there it is. We don't, we won't need of them to see a video or anything, because see, the thought process of putting a link on there comes from a place of fear. And I know you're not afraid, but I'm just saying, the need to prove something to somebody by having them go look at a video versus them just looking at your word and saying, we know this is real because it's got her signature on it.
All right.
That's what we're talking about there. Know that your signature and you being the law and the government is enough.
I find.
Yeah, Islam. Islam nobility.
Is it possible you could please put a link to this document in the chat?
There are levies and levy videos and the link that's under every video has at least one levy in it.
This particular one right here?
No, not this particular one, but other levies that have been done previously.
Right. I was more interested in this particular one.
All right, nobility. All right, I'll have to provide a link.
I appreciate it. I like to learn all the documents as they are. It's part of my
study. But you'll learn them better when you do them.
Right.
Yeah. Have you done at least one levy?
Yes, I have, Empress.
Okay. Keep going with those. Do more levies, and the Spirit will tell you the same thing the Spirit has told us about these internal revenue documents. We're the internal revenue. We always have been and always will be.
Okay.
And the internal revenue and the Treasury work together to give the people what the people will. Islam. So we'll provide a link to this document. Justice Kansu.
Gratitude.
Islam. Thank you, Justice Anthony.
Islam, Empress.
Just one moment. Let's hear from Justice Kansu at United Kingdom territory. Justice Kansu, go ahead.
Islam to the matriarchs and the nobles.
Islam.
Peace and grand. That same what Anthony was asking. Couldn't you just scroll that from the top to the bottom?
Yes, this is the top of it. This is the.
Scroll down to the bottom.
We'll do that. We're on our way down there now.
I just copied that myself.
This part or the next page?
Right down to the bottom.
Okay.
Islam, Empress.
Yes, Islam Empress Shasha.
Our logo, our internal revenue logo will be placed.
Yes.
Okay.
It goes to the right of this this that's on the screen right here. It goes to the right of that. That's it. But for us, we have to do the document first and then copy the logo in to it after we finish.
Okay, I figured as much. I just wanted to just affirm or confirm that fact.
Yep. Okay. We put it on both pages right over here in the upper left corner.
Correct.
Or in the middle if you choose.
but it goes on the document, just like.
But it does go on the document, yes. The nationalized internal revenue logo does go on these documents.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Empress. So let's look here at Title 12, United States Code 95A, Part B is also on here. It says regulation for actions in exchange for gold and silver, property transfers and entitlements. Any entitlement, payment, conveyance, transfer, assignment, or property delivery made to or for the United States or as otherwise directed by this competent court pursuant to this section or any rule, regulation, instruction, or direction issued hereby, that means by us, shall be a full acquittance and discharge or tendered payment and marked paid in full for all entitlements issued hereby. More of the same. That means you get your payment deposited into the bank when you look at Title 12, United States Code 95A, Part B. And then here it says the Constitution for the United States, Article 1, Section 9. It says money shall be paid from the Treasury in alignment with national appropriations made by law. Okay, so we've got the Constitution, we've got the United States codes, and then we have our court action here. And then what we do is we just put our autograph here, fiduciary, trustor, attorney with facts, internal revenue, and we just autograph it right here, and that's the end of the document. That is the end of this is the levy document. It's a 2-page document. And then you can see here on page 3, we put stamps and seals, but we've actually gotten to the point where we put the stamps and seals on page 2 and page 1 and keep it short and to the point. Okay.
Empress. I'm just reading that with y'all, and I realize that's how we go and get all our entitlements and all of our benefits. Let's say if you was receiving like Social Security or whatever, what have you, benefits from, your enactment when you was in the military or whatever, that's why it's important to do the lien, levy, and bond, because you can get your benefits that way. I just realized that when you read that last statement.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we all should know that the ancestors are going to keep their word. All we have to do is keep ours.
Yeah, that part.
And be patient and let the process and trust the processes. So this is the levy. That's the whole levy process from start to finish right there. It's 2 pages.
Islam.
And then Islam, Justice Akil.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, in the past, I think you had added back then when you showed the levy process, I think back in 2022 or 23, you were showing also the added 1099-C with the levy. You're not doing that no more with this? With the blue copy that goes to the debtor and the red copy goes with yourself?
So we just talked about that process where we do the lien, levy, and bond first, and this is what we stated. Then, if as you can see on the screen, then we can do the 1099 cancellation affidavit.
I thought that goes with the levy. I didn't know if that was something.
It can go with the levy. It can go with the levy. Of course it can.
Okay.
We're just drilling down on the process so that everyone knows what the process is. But it's not. It doesn't have to be separate from that, or it can be sent separately. It's up to you and where you are in your demonstrations.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at your will. It's at your will. You have leeway, freedom.
It's just when the thing is, when you first taught us the process, you showed after those 2 pages, you went to first and second page, then you showed us the 1099-C red copy, and then you showed us the 1099-C blue copy that will go to the debtor when you are sending it out, and the red copy would go to your court. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were again preparing you again to do all of that at once, at your will, depending on where you are and what you've received and what you're rebutting. Right. But the processes are here, still the same. They haven't changed in terms of the order of, how you do it, and how they're connected is really what I will to state.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Justice Akil, I'm just so grateful that you have the memory of a God, that you remember all of that. I'm grateful that you do, because you can see now the connection between each one of the actions, the connection between the lien, the levy, the bond, the cancellation, the debt cancellation, the itemized deduction affidavit, and the claiming of the credits deposited into your bank account. You see how that whole thing, how you went from thinking you were a debtor to being the creditor to picking up those credits. That's the circle. That's the whole process right there.
Right.
How do you look at the debt and say, I know this is a credit to me?
And that's one thing. I mean, at first it's kind of hard to wrap your head around and saying this is a credit to me when you see, when you're trying to figure out how do I settle the debt, or some people say discharge the debt. But and then when you're doing that, it's actually a credit to you,
Yes. We have no debt, but we have to know how to state that in a systemic way, so that the system understands that we know we don't have in debt. And this is why people were saying, oh, cashless society, because they know that we got so many credits out there. Do we need delirium? Because we got so many credits out there. But we did need delirium because we had to have our system based on a dollar unit, a unit of measure. And delirium is that gold receipts. The receipts for the gold is the only way we could even come up with to attempt to measure our estate and use a currency. It had to be commodities based. It had to be gold. And it had to be coined by us and tendered by us. So that more sovereign delirium gold receipts is gold tendered and coined by us. So it is absolutely in alignment with the Constitution, everyone. Islam, Empress Imani.
I have a question.
We can barely hear you, Empress.
Okay. How's this? Is this better?
That's better.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So earlier, hopefully I can assist in joggling your memory, and I apologize for stating it that way because it's been such a big gap here now. However, you were speaking about canceling the debt, and you mentioned make sure that you have your fiduciary document, and then we were distracted, and so you were stating some other documents that need to be there, and I didn't get the rest of that.
Okay. So when you do the cancellation, what you will to send with that is the fiduciary document, and you can, and this is important. Thank you, Empress Imani, because this is important. Whatever it was that was sent, you have to stamp it canceled in red. Okay, stamp it canceled or write canceled on it in red. Whatever that attempt at a bill was. So if it was a fake ticket, you write canceled on the ticket in red, and we have a stamp that we put it in red, stamp it canceled, and then enclose a copy of that canceled bill in when you send the 1099 cancellation affidavit to whoever the actor, the ones that were previously acting, you send that with it. Okay, that the fiduciary affidavit on Moorish government letterhead on 8.5 by 14, and the 1099 cancellation. So those are the three things you would send when you're canceling the debt and about to pick up the credit.
So now the next question relative to that, because
I can't hear you, Empress.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So in conjunction with that, what I have in mind is what you spoke about, I don't know, maybe a couple of congresses ago, about putting holes in.
Yes, that's the part. That's it right there. That's it.
Okay, perfect. That's what I wanted to make sure, that it's not something different, but actually this is the process, or the process is
that's the process
we're doing right here. Okay.
Oh, Empress Imani, I'm so grateful for you. You have it. You have it.
I'm working it. I'm working it.
We must, and particularly the matriarchs, and yes, the patriarchs too, but we must, Empress Imani.
It's fine. It's fine.
So that so that our heirs and us don't have to keep going through the stuff we've been going through.
Right.
Over some debt that ain't even ours.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yes, I'm grateful for you, Empress. I'm glad you're here. Islam,
Empress.
Islam nobility.
Can you repeat that? The three, it's the 1099C.
Hold
and what
on.
was the third one?
The fiduciary affidavit.
Okay, gotcha. Yes, Islam.
Yeah. So it's a simple process, and you do want to put holes in the fake whatever you cancel. Put the way we do it is we put a hole in each corner, and then we put one in the middle. But definitely the four corners, you put a hole in each corner. That's going to sink that ship because that they were trying to sail to you. That's going to sink it. Because believe it or not, that debt was acting as ships on the sea, out there trying to catch fish by having us pretend that we are an all caps name and that we're a debtor. That's how you fish for men. In the Biblios it says that, you want to be fishers of men. Islam, Empress.
I have a question.
Yes.
With the documents again, back when we first were doing the levy, there was a 1096 format that we had restated and that we had included along. Well, not along with that. I'm just asking.
Okay.
Is that still part of the process?
So that's a choice if you want to send a 1096. It's a transmission document. It's a transmittal document. A 1096 is a transmittal document. So if you choose to send that, you can. We have that's for those who will to use that as a cover sheet.
Okay, because it's actually it's the nationalized company record.
It is it's a notification document.
Notification, okay.
Yeah. But again, the documents that we've stated thus far also cover that.
So that's what I mean, because in terms of less paperwork, less ink, all of those things, if it's not a mandate, then and it's covered already, then it can go.
Yes. Let's just take a quick look at that 1096 form. Yeah, it's a transmittal that, as we were stating before, it's like a cover sheet that so that people will know where to put things, but we already know where things are going based on what we've done. The lien, levy, and bond. We're telling them up here. We're telling our system up here at the top where this goes. Right. So we don't necessarily have to have a 1096, but for those who have seen that document and, they feel like it's fitting for what they're doing, we will that they know that they have that option too, but it must be created by them.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, what I see is that as we are progressing with our processes and
yes,
certain things that are being washed away in the flow.
They're actually not being washed away. They will stick with whoever it is that the Spirit prompts to use that.
So they're in the toolbox, but they're not there. We've processes of, and maybe this is the wrong term, but this is how I'm seeing it, superseded.
Yes.
Even though it's still there and it's still relevant and it's in the toolbox, but based upon where we are,
yes,
will determine how Spirit speaks to us and how we utilize.
Yes, we give a basic process and a protocol for how to do things.
Yes.
We give a basic, but then as you sovereign chief justices are governing your estate or the estate, because we all do that together, then the Spirit is going to say, hey, look at this, or hey, look at that. And it may not be something that goes across the whole process. It might just be specific to that specific thing that you're doing. We will let everyone know that you can edit these processes according to what the Spirit says for you to do. Or if the Spirit says keep it just like it is, then do that.
Islam.
But see, as judges and justices, we have the ability to apply the law however we will.
Islam.
Within the system. Because the system is going to respond to whatever we put out there.
Correct.
Based on did we use it correctly and those things. Yeah.
Islam Empress.
Islam Empress.
Oh, is there a reason why you use Internal Revenue Utah Treasury? Can we use another treasury?
You can. You can. Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We use Ogden, Utah, because we know what Utah stands for. Utah historically is where the gold was originally. That's where a large cache of our gold was originally held. We have gold at every territory, but because we keep a tight hold on it and only let a certain amount out. But each of the treasuries has access to gold. So if you choose to use a different one, you can use a different one. It's there.
Islam, thank you.
Islam, yeah. But if your Spirit says use a different treasury, you use it, because ultimately you're the treasury, and it's a system that you're speaking to anyway. An address is part of a system.
Okay, gratitude.
Islam. Canceled debt. A canceled debt is when a creditor forgives or discharges a debt, meaning the borrower is no longer obligated to repay the amount owed. Okay? Now, when I read this, I thought, why would we borrow a ticket for running a red light? Why would we borrow that? We wouldn't. We're not the borrower in that instance, but we are the creditor, so we'll cancel it. A canceled debt is when a creditor forgives or discharges a debt. Debt cancellation can occur through various means, such as debt settlement, bankruptcy, or forgiveness programs. Look at this right here. It says the creditor may issue a Form 1099 to the borrower indicating the amount of debt that has been canceled, and that's part of the process. That's what we just showed you. Okay, that's how it works. Debt cancellation can also occur in situations like bankruptcy. We did the bankruptcy court action, so both of those actually apply. Bankruptcy and settlement and forgiveness programs for debt cancellation, all three of those are included in what we're doing. Okay. Uncollectible debt, also known as bad debt, is debt that a creditor or lender determines is unlikely to be repaid. They can't pay our liens. They can't pay them. We've already determined that as the creditors. Creditors have several options for dealing with uncollectible debt, including writing it off as a loss, and that's what the deductions are. But if the Internal Revenue or the creditor, if the creditor says that the deduction is a deduction, then it's a deduction, okay? Nobody can come back and say, oh, we don't think that's a deduction. If Internal Revenue agrees with the creditor, and because we're both, we agree with ourselves, we're not at war, then the deduction is a deduction, okay? And they say selling it to a collection agency or pursuing legal action. All three of these we've done it except selling it to a collection agency. We are the collection body. We're the head for all collection as well. The Internal Revenue is the collection agency, the collection ministry. It says writing off debt, which is the same as deductions, deducting the debt. It says creditors may choose to formally write off the debt, meaning they remove it from their accounting records as an asset, and then they say recognize a loss. All that is adding it to the deduction piece, okay? So it says this is often done when the debt is considered unrecoverable, such as after a certain period of non-payment, or when the debtor declares bankruptcy. And we had to declare them bankrupt in order for these credits to be picked up by us. Even 6 and 7 years ago, we were looking at all of that quote unquote debt, and we kept saying on the record, we kept stating on the record, that is the same amount of credit that we have, because they kept showing a national debt, quote unquote. Well, we know we don't have any debt, and we kept looking at that number saying that's credit for us. We have the same amount of credit. So what we have done, Morris and Congress, oh, this is huge. What we have done is that whenever you see that number called the quote unquote, here, let's take a look at it. There is a number that was being enacted. There it is, 36.21 trillion. And they were saying, this is the national debt. And national debt is in black ink and capital letters. And we kept looking at that, and every time we looked at the Spirit said, that's how much credit you all have. That's how much credit you have. You have more than that when you claim it. We actually have 666 trillion in credit, but let's just talk about this number right here first. So what the United States that we created did was state that we're the creditor to 36,214,995,325,583 in credit. Okay? And so if you'll notice, it says 106,000 for every single person in America. That doesn't exist. That's why we claim all, not debt. We're not claiming the debt. We're claiming that amount of credit. That's the difference. Okay? This debt right here, it's canceled by the United States creditor. That's us. That's all we're doing is taking the time to know the process of debt cancellation and picking up our credits. Our bank credits is dollars, dollarium, gold, silver, money, currency. Okay? And this is how you do it. And so it says this is often done when the debt is considered unrecoverable, such as after a certain period of non-payment. And listen, they haven't paid any debt since day one, really, because they didn't have anything to pay with. Writing off debt can impact the creditor's financial statements and may have tax implications. That's the deduction part. Bad debts are deductible. A deduction is depositable into the bank. Okay. Yes, you can write off private planes, not private planes, personal airplanes and automobiles and domiciles. All of that stuff was supposed to be written off. It's biblical that it was supposed to be written off. Okay. Are there any questions about this process? Because we've come to the Islam nobility.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, where can I find this list at so I can read it more? Or
this list?
Did you get it online or?
Yeah, this about the debt.
Yeah, where could I find that at?
Let's
or
see.
I can record. I guess I could just look over the video.
You can, or you can just, if you put this sentence in quotation marks, then and put that in Google in quotation marks, it will bring up the exact sentence from where I got it from. Islam.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I thought for certain that I put a link to this here. Any other questions about this process as we move quickly to our next topic really quickly? It's really a sidebar.
Yeah, there's a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is your process mirroring the process that they do into the factor system? Yes or no?
It is not mirroring. They were mirroring us.
Okay. No further question, Your Honor.
Islam. Islam. On a different topic, but still the same, as we're doing what we're doing, let us ask the question, what is the root word of the word liberty? Does anyone know the root word of the word liberty etymologically?
Islam, is it live?
No.
Islam.
Islam. Empress Shasha.
Well, is it liber, which is really like a leaf of something?
That is a definition of the prefix and the root word.
So is it?
Is it
like Iber? Like Iber?
Say again.
Iber, like the Igbo people, the Okay.
Islam.
Islam nobility.
Freedom.
No. The root word of that word.
Oh, the root word of the word. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Etymologically, the root word of the word liberty.
Is it libertatem? Libertatem?
No, that is a root, a Latin root, a Latin derivative or a Latin synonym. It is a Latin synonym of liberty.
Okay. Yes, it says Latin. Okay.
Yeah, that's a Latin. Islam, Empress.
Islam would be open for Imani.
Is it free, as in liberté, from French?
No, that is a word that's similar to liberty. Free or freedom is similar to liberty, and we'll talk about that in just a minute.
The recording is.
The root word of liberty, for the record, is birth. Birth.
Islam interest.
Oh my goodness.
It's birth.
It's
Islam
right
interest.
there in the middle. No, my goodness.
Yes. It's in the middle. It's right there. The root. That's how you determine what the root word of a word is. The root word is there, and there will be prefixes and suffixes that are added to the root word to make it into another word. But the original meaning will be found in the root word, etymologically. It's birth. B-E-R-T-H. That is the root word of liberty. Islam, Justice Anthony.
Yes, Empress. You answered the question. I was about to ask you if it's relating to the pre, the beginning, and the root as in the middle, and the suffix at the end.
That is correct.
But then you answered it with birth.
Yes.
Islam.
That is etymology. That is etymology. And Moors, there's not a language on earth that you will not overstand or understand when you know etymology. Latin, Spanish, all the languages, German, you will know what they're saying when you know etymology, because all language is etymologically based. They took the root and added different prefixes and suffixes to it, but the root word is the root word, just like we're the root people. You can add and change and do whatever you will in terms of the Moors, but we will always be the beginning and the root of all people.
Islam. That one is just that one is really and I feel that I know etymology, but that one was really in it. Right there is also the fraud is exposed right in the middle of that.
Oh yeah.
Because birth of the ship and the whole, I mean, it's just.
Yep. Liberty is what you have when you have done the right thing. That's what liberty is. A birth is going to be the beginning of the movement of a ship or a vessel. I'll say a vessel, not a ship. I'll say a vessel. Your vessel has liberty when you've done the right things. Do you know the difference, Moors, between freedom and liberty? Because there is a difference. And this is super important because of who we are.
Islam,
Empress.
Diving out there again here. So liberty, so is birth. You've done the right thing. You're born right. You're born with the right. That comes with the blood right and then freedom. Well, freedom is something that can be given or taken away. That's what I mean. I'm because I think with doing the right things where you have liberty, because it's your right.
You're full of bullshit. Bullshit.
You've done the right things to demonstrate it, place it on the public record at that point where you can and will to and must, but freedom, what I'm hearing and seeing here is the free, being born free is different from being birthed free. And I'm going to go back to, I'll stop mumbling here or putting too many words to this. I think that, yes, liberty is something that is birthed, and it's a right. But freedom is something that doesn't necessarily have the right. It can be given or taken away. And I yield.
That's very close, Empress.
Islam, can I make an attempt?
Yes, Empress, go ahead.
Okay, I think liberty is more like permission, and freedom is more inherent, where you're sovereign. You don't really need to have permission. It's inherent. It's just understood that it's just your natural, unalienable rights.
Yes, that is correct.
Islam.
That's precise. Islam, Justice Ogunwale.
Islam.
I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say liberty represented sovereignty, and freedom was what sovereigns give.
Justice Tonis.
Islam. So liberty, the original meaning of liberty was what was given to you. If you were on a ship and you pulled into port, liberty was what was given to you. So it was kind of like an illusion of freedom, because at some point you get to show back up at the ship. Freedom is freedom, completely without any hitches or anything. So that's my 2 cents for Islam.
Yeah. That's a great way to put that.
Islam.
There is a noble. Hold just a moment, please, everyone. There is a noble speaking. Justice Sharif, I believe.
Yes, emphasize liberty implies obligation. Freedom implies without obligation, no contract.
Oh, that's good, Justice Sharif. He said liberty has an obligation and freedom is without obligation. That's really good. That's really good. There was another Empress, I'm not sure if it was Empress Angel or Empress Imani, who was going to make a statement.
Well, Islam, I just wanted to say, because the seamen, when they would dock on the shore and at port, they was given liberty, to go and be at the bars and things of that nature, and they had leave. It was called liberty. So that is permission, as it were. And then freedom is what nature is. Nature is free, and it has no encumbrance. It has no, it just is, without boundaries.
Yeah, Islam. So, Islam, Empress.
I had it. I mean, that absolutely, I completely affirm, because it's back to front. I was back to front, because really, truly, freedom is unalienable. It's free dominion over.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at the whole thing again now, as listening to everyone, because I just have to come back and make sure it makes sense in my own head. But I affirm.
Yeah.
Because everyone, well, not everyone, but I was looking at the whole born, because you're born, but at the same time, and you're born, we are birthed, but some births are with freedom. I mean, some births, the nobility, for instance. Freedom is an automatic, along with the liberty that is birth, but freedom is automatic with that noble birth.
Yes.
So,
freedom is the original birth. Liberty is the birth at commerce and birth at access to things on a earthly plane, so to speak. Let me just say it this way. Freedom is it doesn't have to be granted. Freedom is a lawful process. It's a lawful precept. It's a law. Freedom is the law. Liberty is the legal.
Yes. And freedom, at its
freedom is sovereign.
It's the self-determination
Yes.
That
Freedom.
and freedom. That is, yeah.
That's why the Star Spangled Banner and all those songs talk about liberty. They don't really, they talk about liberty.
Because it's the legal. They know that the lawful, the birthright is not there. And that's why in the educational systems and everything, those words were kind of, which is what's happened all along, were intermeshed and used, intermingled. The jurisdictions were blurred, and that's so they're jurisdictional terms again.
The way that when we're looking at these words, this is how this is a more clarity in that department, in that ministry rather. You have the freedom to go into a store and start eating food. You have the freedom to do that, but you don't have the liberty to do that, because that's not how the system of getting things from a store is set up. You can freely walk in there and start eating, but you don't have the liberty to do that. You have the freedom, but not the liberty.
Yes.
Liberty is systems driven. Freedom is natural. Not that systems aren't natural, because all systems are under our natural authority. But liberty is an abbreviated and well-governed version of freedom. Subjects have liberty, sovereigns have freedom. But see, Islam.
Because you was mentioning that last Congress with the Statue of Liberty. Remember?
Yes.
When you read that poem? And there was a song that I remember learning when I was in, the schoolery system. And it was, what's it called? Give me your tide, your poor, your huddle, master's yearning to be free, your wretched refuge of your teeming shore. I lift my lamp beside the golden door, and such. And that was an enactment of the liberty, which is also known as the birth of the 14th Amendment. And that's why we've known that the 14th Amendment, the birthright citizenship, was always a fraud, because we, the Moors, never affirmed, nor did we give the paperwork, or no, we didn't do any of those processes for the naturalization of the birthright citizenship in that enactment. So that whole system from there on was fraud, as was the enactment of what was enacted with that Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. We have freedom all day, every day. Have that always. The liberty has to be governed. Liberty has to be governed. And that's why someone that's in jail can be given liberty, but they don't necessarily, but that liberty comes with specifications. Islam nobility. Islam nobility. Okay. So there is, really quickly. Now, let me say this about liberty and freedom, sovereigns. Hear me, sovereigns, please. You are free to do all things, but your decisions on what you do is directly connected to your liberty. Your decisions are directly connected to your liberty. You're free. You have freedom. You were born with freedom. but your liberty is determined by your decisions. So please be aware of that, because we're seeing, for many years we saw, before we woke up, let's put it that way, we saw persons trying to express freedom or trying to express liberty and calling it freedom and trying to convolute the two. Some people want to say that everybody is born free. Sovereigns are born free. Sovereigns are born free. Our subjects have liberty. They are born with liberty. And then right thinking and right decisions mean that determines what happens with your liberty, because liberty can be given and taken. Liberty can be given and taken. Freedom is freedom. And sometimes you'll hear the subject say, freedom isn't free. What does that mean? Their freedom was in all capital letters in black ink, which is really not freedom. That's liberty for them. That was liberty for them. So what you do, because see, yes, we're the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. But you must put your money where your mouth is. Sovereigns, put your money where your mouth is. And you have to keep doing that. Just as Johnny said it correctly, freedom cannot be granted. Because freedom is actually a characteristic of a title of nobility, a title of a noble title. Okay? And so when people call themselves free men and Freemasons and all of that stuff, those are sovereigns and no other. They have to, in order for that to be truth, they must have been born free. Immigrants have liberty. They come here for liberty. And we get to determine what that looks like. And that's not an ego statement. It's not an ego statement. It's a responsibility.
Islam,
Empress.
What I'm seeing is liberty is a pass. It's like a pass.
Yes. It's a pass. Like a passport is a liberty document.
Right. It's a privilege.
Ooh, that's so good. Freedom is a right for the sovereigns, and liberty is a privilege for those who come here.
Yes.
And those are not ego statements, that's the law.
It's the fact. Yes.
It's facts and law.
I appreciate this breakdown, because it's really clarified the words and the status position. So I yield.
We must continue to place clarity. When our great Sheikh Taj asks, "Are we clear?" That's what that's all about. Is adding clarity to what we already know, splitting the hairs, separating the wheat from the tares, using the sword, which is the word, to pierce and divide asunder the soul and the spirit. That's how precise we are.
Islam.
This Congress is that. Very precise. So that everyone has clarity, so that there's no misunderstanding about the law and what all should be doing. I'm going to put a link in the chat. I'll be grateful when we can watch these types of videos in the same room together. That's going to be great. It's coming soon. It's on its way. It's on its way. Our ancestors know what they're doing. But I'm going to put a link in the chat to a short video. This is the video. Everyone, the cat is out of the bag, just so that you are aware. Everyone knows who we are. And this particular individual is, there's a particular individual who is telling everyone that we are original and indigenous to the land here. Take what he says with a grain of salt. Throw that over your shoulder. It's not a big deal. He's not saying anything that we haven't said already in terms of who we are, which gave him permission to say the things that he's saying in the video. And not everything he's saying is as it should be. We actually have to tell our own story and state our own truth. I will to introduce really quickly, on another note, matriarchs. This is specifically for the matriarchs. Matriarchs, I know that our national headdress is turbans and fezzes. I'm aware of that. This past weekend, this past strong end, the ancestors put it on our hearts to introduce a matriarchal fez. And it's not anything we haven't seen already, but it has to be given a name and a place for us. So it's called the Circle 7 Fez, and it's called that for a reason. It's the matriarchal Circle 7 Fez. This ancient noble fez crown does not replace our current fez. However, this is a national fez for the matriarchs, and that should say a national fez for the matriarchs. And it will be by vote of this Holy Congress. This is not mandatory, but it is a necessary distinction. Our current fezes can be upscaled to this design. It's a very simple design. It is the Circle 7 fez. It's two number sevens facing each other. The number 7 facing east and the number 7 facing west. So it's a fez, but the fez is extended out in a bell shape towards the top. A jeweled matriarchal Circle 7 fez would look something like this. And we know that pictures that we saw in the past of quote unquote Cleopatra and all of that, they were wearing what would be considered a Circle 7 fez. It bells out going up. And I just willed to give a statement really quickly about the Circle 7 fez. In the ancient writings, the number 7 indicates perfection, completeness, wholeness, prosperity, pureness, the gateway, the womb, the government, abundance, the all, and Allah. The ancient writings, such as in the Circle 7 or in the Biblios Heliotech, the earth was created completely in 7 days to include the creation of man. Our holy book is the Circle 7 Quran for the Moorish Holy Temple for Science. And then the ancient Hebrew word for light or shining one or light bringer or daylight star looks like this, is 2 sevens put together. That is the ancient Hebrew word for light, which we all are light. The Biblios talks about a time where darkness will cover the earth and deep darkness the people, but the light will shine upon us and through us at that time, which is now. This is the time where we shine really brightly, all of us. And this is what that looks like in ancient Hebrew. We can just give that some thought, matriarchs, unless you're prepared to vote today, that this be added to what we already do, just as an addition, a matriarchal Circle 7 fast.
Islam, Empress, Karima Bay, Virginia. I'm prepared to vote yay for the Circle 7 fast. I yield.
Thank you, Empress.
Islam. Angelica at New York, land of Nod, Satrapi territory. Prepared to vote a yay for the coming of the Holy Moorish Moroccan Moabitess fest.
Yes, Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
Justice, Shasha Amday, Jamaica territory. This is so timely. I have been, along with the natural resource, I love to sew. And I have been really thinking of ways of how to sew turbans.
Ooh.
And, you know, I mean, and I dye fabrics with natural products, the natural resources, and I'm looking at this, and I am, yes, I affirm, and I'm absolutely vote yes, because I look at this and I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. I see it. And created it with my own hands. So
yeah,
I affirm.
Islam. Thank you, Empress.
Are we and you know, we're not, there's no restriction, of course we're sovereign, but colors and all of those things are at our will.
Yes. Yes. There's freedom there. Yes.
I affirm.
I just see, I see gold, I see jewels, I see symbols. I didn't see any words on it at all. I just saw jewels and gold and symbols.
Our powerful symbols. And
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our sacred geometry even. I saw that.
It is sacred geometry. I mean, it in itself.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Are there any Islam nobility?
So Noble Drew Ali said to not write on the fez. So that's not actually writing, right?
Right. It's not writing. It's not writing. It's jewels. It's a jeweled fez.
This is good. There are some fezes that have a tassel that has a ring of jewel around it.
Yes. Yes.
That's allowed. Or we can allow it. We can do whatever we want. Islam.
Yeah. Anyone else will to vote? I vote yay as well. Since the empresses are ready to vote. Is there anyone who's not ready to vote today on it?
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
Empress, Imani, Colorado Territory. I vote yay for the Matriarchal Circle 7 fez.
Islam. Thank you, Empress. Empress Cynthia. Empress Cynthia? I think I heard you speaking.
Yes, it takes me a while to open up. Yes. I affirm Justice Cynthia Ann Bay, California Territory.
Yes, Islam. Thank you, Empress.
Shirley Campbell from Kinanan Territory. I affirm.
Islam. Thank you, Empress.
I, Anajel Mahak-Bade, Kinanan Territory. I affirm the Jewel Matriarch Circle 7 fez. Yay.
Islam. Islam.
Islam.
Might be
Islam.
me, Empress, but I can't hear you. Islam.
Islam.
I vote yeah for the Fez.
Thank you, Justice Consul. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Justice Akil.
I tell can immediately Mexican territory. That's a yay. It's a beautiful fez idea.
Islam.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you, nobility. Islam.
Islam. I didn't know non-matriarchs could vote, so that's why I didn't. But I would say yay too.
Yeah, it's a vote for the whole Congress to vote on. Yeah, yeah.
Islam. I yield.
Islam.
Islam.
Thank you for your vote. Islam, nobility. Justice Atiba.
Islam, I, Atiba Day, New York Territory, as its one and honor, I affirm. Yay.
Islam. Thank you, nobility. Islam.
Islam, Akil Afiq Bay, Georgia Territory, I affirm.
Thank you, nobility at Georgia Territory. Thank you.
Islam.
Islam.
Justice Dumois, and then there's an empress.
Chief Justice Michael Nwamli Bay, Mississippi Territory, I affirm.
Thank you, nobility. And then there's an empress.
Yes, this is Amora Adams from Florida Territory, and I affirm because I've been looking for something like this.
Beautiful. Thank you, Empress Amora. Islam, Justice Anthony, and then the other justice.
Chief Justice Anthony Jadis Singh from Ixmica Territory, I affirm.
Islam. Thank you, nobility.
Yeah, she certainly of Florida Territory. I'd like to know Noble Drew Ali's exact words on concerning the fist.
Okay, that is absolutely some study that you can do at your will. Islam. Islam.
Islam.
It is our understanding that he said don't put words on it, and we know why he said that. Because at the time they were not knowing, the majority were not aware of the semantic deceit of capitalism, and that's why he said that. Noble Islam, there's a noble that was speaking.
Islam. Rahman Sharaki Bay, I vote yay.
Islam. Thank you, nobility. Islam. Are there any other votes?
Islam Empress, like
Justice Sharif.
Yes. Justice Sharif, Khalifa Territory. I'm gonna pass in that. I'm not going to participate. But no majority said opposite don't write on it.
I can't hear you, nobility.
I'm gonna pass on this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Islam. Justice Mosey.
Islam, Chief Justice Mosey Bay, Illinois Territory. I vote yay.
Islam. Thank you, nobility.
You're welcome, Islam.
We are so grateful. The matriarchs are so grateful, and I'm not speaking for them. I'm just, as a matriarch, we're so grateful when our nobles, our emperors, our patriarchs support our rise. Islam. Thank you. So anyone else? Yes, there's a Chief Justice in the chat. Says Mother is the original creator of her fez. Islam. Islam indeed. While we honor what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said about the fez, we honor his work. But he also said something really important that we have to look at. He said that if I told you the half, many would go back to sleep. That other half that he didn't tell belongs to the matriarch. We're supposed to be speaking about that which concerns us, Islam. And we fully intend to take full advantage of that wide open opportunity that our Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us, Islam.
Islam.
Islam, nobility.
Noble Timothy Hassan Bain, that I am, Consul and Reverter Timothy Ray Hurston. I agree. Virginia Territory.
Thank
Islam.
you, nobility. Islam. And it's great to hear your voice, Justice Timothy. Islam.
Islam. I'm always around. Don't worry.
Yes. We're so grateful.
Yes.
We feel safer because of that. Islam.
Thank you. And all the air.
Islam. Thank you, nobility. Let's just take a look here at what we're rebutting. With our feds, we're rebutting this type of madness right here. Madness, actors, capitalism.
I affirm.
Islam. They put everything up there like capitalism, okay? Islam.
And Islam, they have the sword above the crescent. Is that not yes?
Yes, and the crescent is turned downward when it's not supposed to be downward.
Exactly. That enactment is enacting the subjugation of the matriarch, actually.
Well, only by capitalism, only if we stuck with capital letters, but we've already put that thing down.
Right, and I said, enactment. I mean, yes, exactly. And that's
Empress Sasha, we know what you're saying. We know what you're saying. We just, when it comes to spell casting, whoo.
Yeah, absolutely. Islam.
Now, look here, Empress Sasha, you mentioned that pirate sword being put above the crescent. The one in the middle, who's supposed to be the quote-unquote leader, quote-unquote, is dressed like a pirate with all the gold and booty in his hand in the enactment. And then there's 1, 2 tokens there. But notice, Morris, this is what we're talking about with capitalism. They have their letters in all capital letters for a reason. We were supposed to know the difference. And see, we are Moors wearing fezzes. They are called Shriners. A shrine is a funeral home dedicated to the dead.
That's absolutely true.
By way of capital letters.
Islam,
Fifth Amendment. Islam, nobility.
This man not only dressed like a pirate, but his features, I'm seeing clearly, his features definitely resemble a pirate.
Yeah. That's not an accident. And again, we're not mad at faces, okay? Because all we had to do was stop using their quote-unquote capital letters and do what we're doing now, peacefully. Those are not our enemies. Those are subjects in the office of court jesters and costumed actors. So we're not mad at them. We're just pointing out that all that they did using capital letters, and all we had to do was decapitate the madness. That's it.
By virtue of the capitalization, they're dead. I mean, that's...
Of course. Of course.
We just had to know who we are and demonstrate that.
That's it. It's that simple, Empress. We don't even have any enemies. We don't have any enemies. All we have to do is do what we're doing now, competently and peacefully.
Islam,
Empress.
Oh, I just wanted to add, that you can feel, like spiritually, you can feel the difference with whatever they have on their head because it's so busy. It's not authentic. You can feel the authenticness within.
Right.
It's insane. The pirates strike again. I just wanted to add that you can really feel that, and you can see the busyness of what they've got going on. That shows the fakeness within. What
to me,
they're
it
trying
just looks like clownishness.
Yes,
It looks like
exactly. The clown.
It looks like it's not even supposed to be up there, really, to be honest with you. It's not even supposed to be on their head. But, okay, well, that's what it looks like to me.
Islam. Tonis Bey from Khalifa Territories. I want to point out to you that those hats that they're wearing, I'm not calling them fezzes because they've altered them. But you need to realize that those are our sons. What that is a shrine to us, really. Okay, because the names on those hats are the people they belong to. Each one of them is owned, and their name of their owner is on the hat. That's what's going on there. So originally, it was one of our tribes that they joined up with, and now this is their descendants. So don't be fooled. They are clowns. Yeah, they are clones. They're not us. So they're not like us. Islam.
Okay, so let us add a little more clarity to that. They are actors. They are subjects to us. We're not going to go into clans and tribes and nations and governments, and no, we're not saying any of that. Subjects to the Moors. Actors acting in an acting corporation, company, and we're not minimizing anything or anyone. That's we're stating facts and truth. That's what Ellis Island is. Let's just be real. That's what Ellis Island is. It's a place where someone can go to have their minds changed to be the exact opposite and then enact the exact opposite of, in other words, attempt to be a Moor, but do the opposite of what Moors would do. It's an acting company. Islam. And again, we're not mad at them. We're not mad. We're applauding as the curtain closes.
Islam,
Empress.
Islam, Empress.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm wrong in thinking this, but sometimes I have the thought that maybe something happened to us and we have lost our memory, and these people were just placed as they're like placeholders, until we get our memory restored. I'm not sure if we really should, I don't know, if they're really enemies or what it is, because just the way that they spell it out, they said that they're acting, right? They call it acts and codes. They never assume that they're doing law or anything like that. They've basically spoken the truth. And when you read the historical documents, you see that, they can't even claim land, and they didn't even profess that they can claim land. So
they never really lied about anything, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Because they were not speaking a language where truth exists. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not enemies.
Yeah.
They're not our enemies.
Something happened to us and we forgot who we were, and they basically just capitalized on it and just exploit the whole situation.
Let me just say this. Nothing could ever just happen to us randomly. We have to create the scenario and then make it happen. That's how things go with us. So what we did was we said we're going to enact going to sleep. And then we're going to hire an acting company called the United States of America in all capital letters. And we're going to tell them, okay, you all know what we do because we're your lords. We created you. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you go out there and you pretend to be us. That's all. Mm-hmm. But you're going to write everything in all capital letters in black ink, but like a Hollywood script is supposed to be written. And then the Moors that are out there, either they're going to know the difference, they're going to know you're actors, and they're going to tell you to go on about your business because you're acting and we know you're acting, or they're going to try and get into the theater with you and fight and act and tussle and be mad, and Moors going to be getting into their feelings, and they're going to be going back and forth and all of that. Moors are going to be using monopoly money and all of that. Mm-hmm. And really not knowing that that's not really the truth. That's not reality. That Ellis Island was an insane asylum, people, Moors, that they had to go through. They had to go through that. (1871, 1872, 1870), those time periods, they were all going through there being programmed, by who? The Moors. No one does anything without our permission. That, listen, Justice Johnny Jenkins put it in the chat, and we talked about that before. The Bible, that the King James Version in all capital letters in black ink, that is a book of acts, acting. Hollywood, Mount of Olives, all those trees on that Hollywood Hill are olive trees. Mount of Olives, but it's Hollywood. It was Hollywood. It's a place of acting. And now, Moors, we know that all of that's what it is. Not everybody is aware of that yet, just so that you all are aware. Not everybody is aware that they were actors. Some of y'all still think they really are judges and police and stuff when they're really not.
It's
Empress Shasha, and then Justice Dumois. Mm-hmm.
I was going to, I will to add that the fez is a symbol of the womb.
Of course.
And when looking at these, and let me also add, they're not actually even the pirates. That's an act too, because the pirates were Moors. First, that's an absolute fact. And so, I just wanted to add that. And then I was looking those fezzes on the actors have the tassel tied down. Now the tassel, free-flowing, symbolizes or signifies being born of the womb.
Yes.
And so even in the enactment and in their costumes, the truth is being put before. If you look at the mirror, the truth is being reflected, because none of that is the truth.
Exactly.
None of that is the truth.
Exactly.
This is, and as you say, that we don't have enemies. Our enemy, really and truly, if we want to even use that word, and I should look up the etymology of that, would be ourselves. Because when we are not in our right status and in our right mind, then we are the only enemy that could be.
Empress Shasha, the chapter 1 of the Circle 7 states that our greatest foe was within us.
And there it is.
And there is no foe outside of us.
There couldn't be. There cannot be.
So then that's why we state what we state. Every Congress, we say we are not at war.
We are not. Because if there is a war, it's only with oneself.
Because there's no one outside of us who's dumb enough to try to go to war with us.
Hello.
They're not that stupid.
Do I know that?
They won't do that. They won't do that. They will not try to war with us because it doesn't make sense. Unless you just have a death wish and you just like being destroyed. Come on now. And we don't even operate that way.
No, that's
we don't even operate like that.
Absolutely the truth. It's not even that is we don't there's no will for us to be in that frame of mind when we know who we are.
Well, war just means confusion. It doesn't even mean pulling out guns and trying to shoot people and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't even mean that. It doesn't. War means confusion in the dictionary.
Now, it's not even the physical war with guns and everything else. What is it? It's confusion.
Well, what's the root word of the word confusion?
Fuse.
Of course. That means electricity. That means current. That means that something is going the wrong way.
When you say con with, but also con is con.
Con also means against.
Against, exactly.
So war is really a thought process.
Yeah.
It's a thought process. If you think they're at war with you, then you just gave them permission to be at war with you. You see?
Because everything
and you,
mental.
All Moors know this. Moors, if you think that's your enemy on the screen, you're confused.
And that's true.
But they would never lift a finger against us because they already know where their fingers came from. Come on now. So let's move on really quickly because I believe we're concluding our Congress. Oh, white. I was going to do a discussion about why are we legally white. We'll start here, but we'll stop here too also briefly here. Why are we legally white? Because see, people think this is a white person.
Islam. Because white it's a political status. It means sovereign, landlord, all of those things, which is who we are.
And these are not white people. Those are not white people.
No, it's a status. It's not even. It has nothing to do with complexion or even a man or a woman or a person. It's a status. Black and white are status.
It's also a science.
It's also
it's a scientific word.
Islam. Which white are you talking about? Which spelling?
There's only one white that I'm talking about.
There's W-I-G-H-T.
Okay. You can, no matter how you spell it, we are white. They are not.
Yes. The original white, landowner, purity, and royalty.
Of course.
That's original white men, and so it wasn't. They weren't around yet.
No, they were not. And so, and again, they're not our enemies. We love them, actually. To be honest with you, we love them the same way we would love any other creation that we created. Now, see, some don't want to swallow that pill, but we love them the same way we love any other creation that we created that breathes on our land.
Islam Empress.
Islam nobility.
I often demonstrate in my videos that that's all I got for anybody because it's always in my heart. Is love. Yeah. Islam.
There it is. The science of our whiteness is found in the senses. The sense of sound and hearing. White noise is created by combining all audible sound frequencies at equal intensity. That's what white noise is. Where seeing is concerned, white light is composed of all colors of light combined. Okay? And then the third one was going to be chromosomes. Our chromosome count and the whiteness of our chromosomes. Chroma, and you can do the etymology on the word chromosome to find out where white is concerned. White, having the color of pure snow or milk, of the color of radiated, transmitted, or reflected light containing all the visible colors of the spectrum. It is opposite to black. Of a light or pale color. They say or because it depends on which white you're talking about. One of them is light, the other one is pale. Pale means dead or black, like a corpse. Okay? We'll stop here with this, though. We had a bunch of other, we were going to go into some more of the science and things of that nature, but we'll save this for the next Congress because we've gone on here. We're at about 4 hours now, so we will to go ahead and we'll stop here. We'll adjourn here until next Sunday. Morris, we are the wealthiest at earth ever. Right now, today, get your wealth moving. Go out and start getting things from the land that you can give and tribute and sell to other Moors and to the subjects. But see, the subjects, our intention is to get the Moors going so that, because the Moors are the center for this universe that is natural earth. We're the center of it. Our focus is Moors, and we know the subjects will do exactly what they're supposed to do. Okay, so we're not even worried about the subjects. The subjects are not worried about themselves. Read chapter 29 of the Circle 7, Magistrate and Subject, and you'll know why the subjects are not our focus. Moors are our focus right now because they have to wake up because the estate is ours, okay? Go ahead and make claim to the land by pulling from the land and getting it ready to tribute to the people. Islam. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Great grand rising, more.
Peace.
Islam.
Grand rising. Islam Empress, truth follow Islam.
Islam. Thank you, nobility.
Thank you so much for this great progression.
Islam.
Islam. You're welcome, nobility.
One left to all.
Islam, gratitude.
Islam.
Absolute gratitude.
Islam.
Peace. Thank you.
Islam. Thank you, Empress Rose Tao. Islam.